right, let me turn that down a little bit. Grand Rising, happy President's Day. For all those joining, please make sure that you like, and then like one more time as you're joining. We got to boost the algorithm. As y'all know, we like to get as many different perspectives, voices, people in the building as possible, so that way we can come together and figure this thing out called life. Great weekend. It was a great weekend. A lot to discuss with y'all. And we're going to go through the history of our presidents. We're going to go through something that was on my mind. I'm going to show y'all the post that was on my mind yesterday that I think is very relevant to what we're experiencing right now. The lack of godliness in this world, the lack of godliness in our society. We're living on the brink of some, I don't even want to say we're living in demonic times, but we're definitely living on the brink of it if we're not living there right now. So we're going to talk about everything. I can put this back on now that I don't have the music competing with that in the background. But first and foremost, how was your Valentine's Day weekend? Hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day weekend, something that's so important. So important to have those relationships right at home. Even though it's commercialized, I hope everybody enjoyed it. Got to spend some time with your loved ones, your significant other, whoever you decided to spend it with. Hopefully you didn't spend too much money. Hopefully you kept it smart, kept it simple, or maybe not simple. Maybe you did something extravagant. Hopefully you did everything that you wanted to do. We'll leave it at that. So let's see who's already in the building. We got Big Bro Finn, of course, coming through with the good energy to start off the week. New week, new energy, same mission. Grow, build, and leave this world better than we found it. Let me repeat for all those that don't know why we are here, for all those that are confused about their purpose or looking for a purpose. Here goes one for you. This is a new week. It's new energy, the same mission. Grow, build, and leave this world better than we found it. Period. Waste no time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Action over debate. Live your principles. Waste no time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Action over debate. Live your principles. The Honorable. The Honorable. The OG Network favorite. Marcus Aurelius. Always appreciate that, big bro. Always appreciate that. Love unifies everything that exists. Imagination brings it alive. Together, they are the engine of growth, the power to learn, create, heal, and shape reality from within. Love unifies everything that exists. Imagination brings it alive. Together, they are the engine of growth, the power to learn, create, heal, and shape reality from within. And we know when we shape our reality from within, that's how we manifest. That's how we create. I love that. I love that quote, big bro. I love that one. I love all of them, but that one definitely has a deeper meaning. Shout out to Bubbles in the building. Good morning, everyone. Hope all is well. Hope you are well, Bubbles. Hope you are well. I was gonna say tapping in from where. I don't even know where you're tapping in from, Bubbles. Let us know. Remind us maybe where you're tapping in from. Shout out to Big Bro Steve in the building. Big Bro was on double duties over the weekend, and I know he was up for it. I know he was Ludo on. I know he was game on. He had a birthday and Valentine's Day. So I'm sure you had an amazing weekend with Professor. Hope all is well. Happy Monday, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope a great weekend was had by all. Definitely. Let's keep it moving. We got Terry in the building. Don't let them groom children. Nah, we're not letting them groom any children. Don't let them meet the children. We're not letting them meet the children. And a lot of people may be looking at what Terry said as kind of crazy, kooky, whatever else. Look, there's been a lot of people who have come out saying some wild stuff, whether it was Ryan Garcia. I just saw another video over the weekend, and I think Ryan Garcia was referring to like what's it called? The Bohemian Grove, I think, or I forget the name of it. I just wasn't planning on it. Just Terry just mentioned it. But yeah, we got to figure all this stuff out. And that's the problem with a lot of these Epstein files is a lot of this stuff is going to be left up for interpretation. When you're not upfront, when you're not transparent, when you're not just giving the people what they're asking for, and you trying to hide and redact certain things. People are going to draw their own conclusions. So, and I'm not saying that this is a far-fetched thing. I just don't know. I'm not putting anything past anybody in our government. So, yeah. We hear crazy people doing stuff all the time. So just because we hold our government officials and the powerful people in this world on such a high pedestal doesn't mean that they wouldn't engage in some of this crazy behavior that we hear. So Finn, Big Bro Finn said, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. I love that. I love that. Shout out to Unc in the building. Grand Rising and good morning, all Finns. Steve, Bubbles, good morning, ladies. Shout out to Unc. Shout out to Unc in the building. I got to catch up on some of your the posts that you've been sending over, Unc. So I'll definitely do that today. Shout out to Phyllis in the building. Good morning, Stephen Bubbles. Good afternoon, Finn. Shout out to Phyllis. What's up, Phyllis? Hope all is well. Tapping in bright and early from San Diego. Send us some of that weather. Send us some of that weather. Let's see. Okay, Terry giving us hey, we said got to be purposeful, got to be clear on what your purpose is. So don't let them flood our country with Terry. I don't want to say illegal, like illegal idiots. Why you have like I like the energy, but they illegal idiots. They're idiots. They were incentivized to come here. Like see, this is where my beef is not with the illegal migrants that were encouraged, entrapped to come here. My biggest beef is with our system and how we just opened the door. Like, do you get mad at somebody if somebody has their door open and they're waiting for you to come on in and have dinner? When you get to dinner and they're there, do you sit there and say, like, look at these idiots eating it? Nah, and I'm not saying every situation was like that, but come on now, illegal idiots. I'm with you on the drugs. I'm with you on the illegals. I'm with you on the pedophiles. I'm with you on the groomers. I'm definitely with you on the paid protesters. And when it comes to paid protesters, perhaps what we should also be worried about is what's already in our country. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just worrying about what's coming into our country, perhaps we should be more aware of the evil that's brewing within our country, whether migrants came here or not. So I think, yeah. Unc said, hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. It was prosperous and full abundance. Weekend, it was prosperous and full abundance of making your wallet Saturday. Saturday in the chair that you sit on. One love always, man. That's funny. And we're back. Uluwehi tapping in. What's good, Uluwehi? Good morning. Yes. Let's keep it going. Do I have everybody? Bubbles is tapping in. Oh, you in Arizona? Dang. Okay, so Bubbles, you on West Coast time too. All this time we talk about Phyllis tapping in early. Bubbles, damn, Bubbles. Okay, definitely appreciate that. Oh, okay. Yo, hold on. First off, in case y'all don't follow Finn, who recently got back on some of these social medias, Finn knows how to do social media. I'm just gonna put it that way. Finn knows how to do social media, so I can't wait. I'm gonna definitely check out that post after the show. Grand Rising to my brother, my bro God. What's up, Bug? Hope all is well. For all y'all that don't know, that's been my bro God since we go back. We got elementary school pictures together, going on trips. So for those that don't know, that's also my personal protector. So as things evolve on this platform and as we grow the community, Boog is my head of, he is the head of OG Security LLC. So yeah, we will definitely man, let me not stop. I don't need y'all to know who my guy is. You feel me? Let's keep it moving. Shout out to you, Boog. Shout out to Randy, critical thinking. You know we need critical thinking in the building. Scary to realize Kanan was 100% right. Google Canaan. Critical. I'm not aware of Canaan. I'm not aware of Canaan. I'm not scared to show the ignorance. I'm not aware of Canaan. Let me actually look up who Canaan is. President, or what Canaan is. Conspiracy activist, but has described Canaan activist. Let me ask Google AI. Hold on, where's Google AI? Who is or what is Canaan? A loosely organized far-right network of people who believe the world is controlled by a satanic cabal of pedophiles and cannibals. And this is by the Pew Research Center. Hold on. We're going to share this, Critical. We're going to share this screen, Critical. Hold on. Because I am not aware of this. Is everybody aware of this? Is this one of those things where it's just like, bro, where you been? Because I am not aware of this. Let me take a look at it. Hold on. Let me bring you down for a sec. 5 facts about and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Wait, is this the one that's pronounced QAnon? And y'all laughing at me saying Canaan like I'm saying Qatar, and I think Qatar is actually Qatar, or I don't know if I'm ever saying that right. But is this the QAnon that I've heard of? QAnon? Is it? Wait, Maya, help! More than a dozen 2020 U.S. House and Senate candidates have engaged with the collection of conspiracy theories known as QAnon. I'm going to say QAnon. I don't know if that's the right way. At least 2 of those candidates won their races and will be heading to Congress in 2021. More than a dozen 2020 U.S. House and Senate candidates have engaged with the collection of conspiracy theories known as QAnon. At least 2 of those candidates won their races and will be heading to Congress in 2021. Here are 5 facts about how much Americans have heard about the QAnon conspiracy theories and their views about them based on Pew Research Center surveys and analysis. Is it QAnon or Canaan? I got it right. Thank you. It's QAnon. I figured that out on my own, but thank you for the confirmation, Bob. So 1, Americans' awareness on the conspiracy theories called QAnon increased dramatically from the early to late 2020. In a February 18th to March 2nd survey, about a quarter of U.S. adults said they heard a lot or little about QAnon. By September, that number had increased to 47%. At the same time, though, very few Americans have heard a lot about it, 9% as of September, up from 3% in February. Wait, what? Americans with high political knowledge are more likely than others to have heard of the conspiracy theories. That's why Critical is aware of it. The majority of Americans who have heard of QAnon think it's a bad thing for the country. Well, yeah, based on eating kids or eating people, I would think so. And being a pedophile. When asked to describe QAnon, people most often mention that it was a group of some kind of or conspiracy theory. A separate content study of YouTube by the center found that in December 2019, mentions of QAnon were concentrated in a very small number. Hold up. This is wild. Nah, we're not going to do any ads, but.
With less than 3 months until Election Day, much of the attention has been on the presidential race.
Hold on.
But
Hold on. I think we're going to go somewhere with this one. Hold on 1 second. I'm actually interested in this. Hold up. Because we're getting ready to get into our president. So let's actually take a look at this, Critical.
Much of the attention has been on the presidential race. But Amna Nawaz looks at how a conspiracy theory could make its way into the halls of Congress after the election.
America's the greatest country in the world.
On Tuesday, Marjorie Taylor Greene won the Republican runoff in Georgia's 14th congressional district.
I'm a conservative Republican.
It's an overwhelmingly GOP district, so she's favored to win in November.
We have an Islamic invasion into our government offices.
But after Politico uncovered Greene's previous Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, and racist remarks about black people, GOP leaders distanced themselves, condemning her words as appalling, disgusting, and bigoted. But Republican leaders remain largely silent about Greene's support for a far-right conspiracy theory known as QAnon, support she professed in a 2017 video she deleted before her campaign launch.
Q is a patriot. He is someone that is very much loves his country, and he's on the same page as us, and he is very pro-Trump, okay?
QAnon first emerged in the months after President Trump took office, starting on fringe internet.
So she's referencing Q. Is that a person that I'm missing? Look, I'm new to this. I'm being honest. I've heard the name. That's how I knew to say QAnon, or after I was saying it wrong for so long. But I've never dove into this. Obviously, I've heard that our government is run, when it comes to Epstein and stuff like this, by this child sex ring, pedophiles, all this other stuff. And you hear certain things, but I was not aware that this is actually like a movement. And when she says Q, somebody write, is that a person? And I'll check it. I'll Google it as well in the background. But y'all gonna need y'all help on this one.
Message boards before spreading to social media. Adherents allege, among other things, that the president is the target of so-called deep state actors, high-ranking officials plotting against him. The conspiracy quickly took off, and the president's supporters latched on to the mysterious Q. Signs and T-shirts appeared at Trump's campaign rallies. Last year, the FBI labeled the movement a potential domestic terror threat.
I stand with President Trump. I stand with Q and the team. Thank you, Anons, and thank you, Patriots.
But now, QAnon has firmly taken root in the 2020 campaign trail.
Honestly, everything that I've heard of Q, I hope that this is real.
Some congressional candidates, like Lauren Boebert in Colorado, promoted the conspiracy theory to friendly media outlets before later calling QAnon fake news. According to Media Matters, a left-leaning watchdog group, 20 candidates, all Republicans except one independent, with varying levels of support for QAnon conspiracies, have advanced to November's general election. And now, Marjorie Taylor Greene's name will be on the ballot as well. Support for.
I saw my girl on there, Angela Stanton. Both my girls, man. We got somebody in Jersey too. Let me ask y'all this. So when they keep saying the conspiracies, what exactly are the conspiracies? Hopefully they get into that. I'm gonna look that up in the background. It's like, what is the conspiracy? That it's a special group that's running these things that do all these, like, what exactly is the conspiracy?
QAnon conspiracies have advanced to November's general election. And now, Marjorie Taylor Greene's name will be on the ballot as well. To look more closely at the rise and spread of the QAnon conspiracy on the campaign trail, I'm joined by Travis View, co-host of the QAnon Anonymous podcast. Travis, welcome to the NewsHour. You have been following the QAnon conspiracy theory and its followers for a very long time. Let's start with the basics, though, for those who haven't been. Just to explain to us, where and how did the QAnon conspiracy begin?
The QAnon conspiracy theory originated on 4chan in October of 2017, though it has its origins in Pizzagate. The basic premise is that a group of high-level military intelligence officials, close to President Trump, QAnon followers believe, are sending out secret coded messages on these image boards about this great grand battle of good versus evil, in which Trump and what they call the Q team are working to destroy a global cabal of Satan-worshiping pedophiles, which...
Well, let me... I guess let me stop right there when it says that Trump, because I looked at a couple different notes and it was saying that Trump is believed to be the person that is supposed to come and save the day, almost kind of like a savior figure. If that's the case, then wouldn't his actions regarding the Epstein files kind of disprove that part of the conspiracy theory? Or are we saying that, oh, well, they still came out or he was working behind the scenes even without releasing the Epstein files to expose this type of thing. It would be more believable if Donald Trump actually, and maybe this does make sense because this was more so while he was running for president, that a lot of people were behind him when him and his team were out there as far as releasing the Epstein files, making it very clear that they were going to do that when they got in office. But then when they got in office, they were trying to hide the conspiracy. They were trying to hide the conspiracy. He was calling the Epstein files a hoax. He was calling it a Democrat hoax. So does that part of the conspiracy theory break down? Because it says it right here. And what I'm looking at is that Donald Trump is the savior. And that the adherents believe Donald Trump was recruited by top military generals to dismantle this cabal and bring its members to justice. I don't know how much that part holds up, but maybe he was brought to do so and just switch sides. I don't know.
The QAnon community believes is controlling everything, and that includes politicians, entertainment, and the media.
And what is the end game? If you're someone who believes in this conspiracy theory, what do you believe will happen as a result of it?
And Unc said, or shout out to Critical wrote Trump was their man. Then if Trump's your man, but now you're the one redacting the Epstein files. Now you're the one hiding the names of the people involved, not the victims of the pedo ring. Then I just don't know. But we're gonna keep diving into
this.
The QAnon community is awaiting two big events. One of them is called the Storm, and this is supposed to be a great mass arrest event in which over 100,000 people from the highest levels of power and entertainment are arrested and face a great day of reckoning. The other event that they're waiting for is called the Great Awakening. And this is basically an event in which everyone realizes that QAnon is right the whole time. And that would allow us to enter into a great, grand new utopian age.
So, Travis, what you've just laid out seems so obviously irrational that a lot of reasonable people might just dismiss it. And yet it has picked up real speed in recent years, right? I mean, it was reported just recently that Facebook found thousands of groups and pages with millions of followers and members supporting QAnon. So
this is like Pizzagate and all this stuff involved so this is just the name of it. This is just the name of the movement, but this is the whole Pizzagate. Like I'm seeing stuff in Google, like saying that like these wealthy people run the world. I even heard, I already was aware of the fact that they're trying to, so this is the connection. Okay, now it's all making sense. Cause I think I was just talking to Maya about what they do with allegedly, what a lot of people are getting accused of doing is drinking like baby's blood for, isn't that like the concoction or something that was in the Epstein files or in one of these interviews or something that was believed that Epstein was involved in, like in order to preserve or for longevity, reverse aging. Am I going down the right path? Because I don't know if the two things are connected, but I just didn't know that there was a movement for all this stuff. And I just wasn't aware of that.
Helped to fuel this idea so well.
It's a really appealing story. You happen to feel really disenfranchised and you want to believe that the world is about to change in a really important revolutionary way. And it's also appealing because it allows the QAnon followers to believe that they can take part in this great, grand revolutionary change. They think that they're basically conducting an information war, so that by going on social media and posting QAnon memes and then...
Oh, wait, hold up. Oh, I see Unc. So Unc, you want to, Unc, you could guide this convo. That'll give me some more time to dive into it. But okay. So yeah, Maya said it's the blood transfusions that we were talking, the adrenochrome. Yeah, I've heard it. Okay, so this is what we were talking about the other day. Okay. So now it's all coming together. I'm like, all right, QAnon. But I heard the name, but I didn't know that this was I didn't know that this was the movement behind it. So I'm 8:35 a.m. Already learned something big. All right. let's move away from this. So you'll tap in tomorrow and jump on and explain a little bit more. I'll take your word for that. Yeah, because yeah, I feel like that's one of those things I got to really dive into first. But I don't mind learning with y'all on the fly. I don't mind. All right, so I want to show y'all this video. And then we'll get into the other videos, of course. But this first video, it inspired me to write a long post on Instagram. That wasn't supposed to be a long post. It was just supposed to be maybe 1 or 2 sentences. But this post triggered some thoughts. So let's take a look at this. And I already took it off the screen. Hold on. Let me pull it back up on the screen. Take a look at this, and we'll continue the conversation afterwards. Hold up. And if it doesn't want to load, then we're just going to have to figure something else out. Hold on, actually. Ken, I think the guy's name was Ken, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm having an issue loading some of this stuff. Hold on. And I see a few people just joined. Please like as you're joining. So nothing's loading on my computer. Give me a sec. Network is connected. So why is this not working? Okay, well, let me talk about the post that at least would have inspired by me, because I don't think that this is coming up. So hold on, give me a second. Okay, so none of the pages are loading. What do we do? Y'all been to see a pivot. All right, so let's pivot real quick. Let's pivot real quickly. So the post that I wanted to play, it's not putting up, so I guess it just wants me to talk about it, was talking about how fake religious people, not real religious people, but give the spiritual relationships a bad name. Now, we've spoken about this all the time, but hearing this gentleman talk, it just kind of reminded me that how much work the quote unquote good guys have to do in order to make sure that people aren't misusing, misrepresenting, manipulating us with the bad aspects of religion, or not the bad aspects of religion, I should say, just using it to do bad. And when I look at this country, and I'll actually read to y'all what I wrote. But I wrote, the world is run by fake spiritual folk that wear a mask of religion. They use this mask to manipulate others into compromising their morals, values, and integrity by picking and choosing when and which commandments to conveniently violate when it meets the agenda of the people that introduce them to that religion. These Halloween creatures really have people thinking it's okay to violate God's commandments, all to serve man's little p purpose. Y'all are sick, but energy is real. God bless. And also, if you believe being chosen is based on inheritance, perhaps you should wonder, chosen by who? Last time I checked, the devil deceives with handouts, not God. Word to Lyndon Baines Johnson. I do my own choosing based on what I earn and or manifest. We all have the free will to become something that one day we'll look back and say we were chosen. But in reality, it's all work. You get out what you put in. It never hits the same when it's given through inheritance. Maybe that's why so many rich kids get messed up in life. I guess it's like anything else, though. Balance is the key. And then again, maybe it's not even about who chooses us, because life seems to be more based on the things we choose, like choosing to go to war with Iran. How many of God's commandments will be violated based on that? But wait, it's responding to a violation, and that makes it okay, right? But I thought God said vengeance was only his. My bad. Don't mind me. I just ask awkward questions sometimes and would rather us figure it out for ourselves rather than the big homie flooding this shit again. Because if only the super wealthy can build bunkers or an ark, won't that ultimately just leave the new world in the same place the last one was, controlled by the same people? just now with even more of a head start and even more experience and or practice manipulating the masses. I just want peace, and I think that's what God wants as well, but I could be completely wrong, though. I'm just trying to play my part, inshallah. Inshallah, God willing. So let me go back to that post now, see if I can find it, and if not, then we'll just move on. But the post was just reminding me of these things, and it was triggering a few different things or bringing about a few different conversations. As you can see, my mind was wandering over there. But we have to move this country, move this world in a better place, because if we don't have significant changes, then it's going to be short-lived. You know, we always talk about leaving this place in a better place for the next generations than we inherited it. We're not going down that path. Like, we're not doing well when it comes to that particular area. We are not on course to leave the world in a better place than we inherited it, if nothing is done, if nothing is changed. We're talking, look at what we just spent, 20 minutes talking about QAnon, a cabal of pedophiles and cannibals that are running the world. And then when we think back to all the conspiracy theories that we heard over the last 20 to 30 years of Pizzagate, of this, of the Epstein files, of Bohemian Grove, of all these different rituals, and you hear people like Ryan Garcia coming out saying like, yo, they were eating kids and all the child sacrificing. And these people expose it sometimes, but then you hear, oh, well, no, they were just crazy, or they never bring it up again. We are moving in a very dangerous place. And the people that are running this world, and this is what I think almost. It's almost as if this is how wild the conspiracy stuff goes. Let's imagine right now if there was a great flood, or if something happened to the world where it could be looked at as God deciding to start over with a new race of people. We're moving around. We don't know what's a boy and what's a girl. We don't know how to treat each other. We don't know how to resolve problems without killing people and violating God's commandments on a consistent basis. We justify it. We're accustomed to it. Just think about this. If there was really, let me rephrase that. As God is watching us drop bombs, send missiles, build nuclear weapons, as God is looking at that, what would God be thinking? And with every time we do something that violates God's commandments, wouldn't you visualize something like a storm or a strike coming down from heaven or something like that, or whatever? We're in a place right now where if something was to happen, and I know that a lot of y'all have heard about these rich folks buying these homes with bunkers, and I believe even Trump's new, the East Wing or the West Wing, one of the wings, I believe that has a bunker in it that he hasn't spoken about too much, but I heard it somewhere. I heard it from a friend. If the world was to end, who would be the survivors? Who would be most likely to survive? It'd be the rich people, right? We're not saying the word elite, but it would be the rich and powerful. The haves, not the have-nots. So if they were to survive, what tale do you think they would tell? What do you think is the first thing that they would do? They would probably decide, hey, we need to create a religion. Or we need to take one of these other religions and figure out how we can create a story that explains how we're the only people here based on one of those religious books. Wouldn't that be the first thing that they would do? Because what's more powerful than controlling the story of how we all got here? What's more powerful than being able to control the story that explains the unexplainable? And now you're the only person here. You got the advantage. I don't know how. Let's say some other people, some poor people snuck through. You know, they always bring some poor people, right? Just like with the migrants, we need some cheap labor. And then the world gets developed. And all throughout the world, there's little pockets of, you know, some wealthy people, and then there's, you know, a few poor people that need to do the work for them because they brought them on board. They let them sit in the ark with the animals. The more that I see stuff occurring right now, the more it makes me look at this life that we're living in as if this is just some sort of like simulation or something. Like this is just something that was created, everything about it. The people that are pushing for the religion, those are the ones that violate the commandments the most. But then it seems like they're getting rewarded the most. But who's really doing the rewarding? Who's really giving them certain things? We think it's God, but perhaps it's really the devil. So these are just some of the thoughts that just come to my mind when I'm looking at all of the things that are occurring right in front of our face. Whether it's QAnon or anything else, I don't think you have to believe in whatever quote unquote conspiracy theory QAnon is talking about to look at the world and say, hey, attitude reflects leadership. If our world is in chaos, then perhaps that points the finger at our leadership. Why would we all be surprised when we hear these things about Epstein? Or why are we surprised when after 20 years of talking about Pizzagate and all the conspiracies that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton have been involved in, whether it's the kids, with all these type of things that we've heard as all rumors, why are we surprised? We're only surprised when we hold them in higher regards. We're only surprised when perhaps we don't have a good grasp on what's going on in this world that we're living in. Other than that, would anybody be surprised? There's pedophiles controlling things in the world. Yeah. Like, we've kind of, people have been saying that for a while. The Epstein files, we can try to make excuses for them, but we know, I mean, it's hard to, we see what's going on. Unless they just completely made this stuff up on purpose to do like a reversal of, I don't even know, like it's right in front of us. So these are some of the questions that I have. I'm not sure if y'all go through this as well. But this is it's becoming harder and harder to take this world seriously. It's becoming harder and harder to take this world seriously and to think of it as anything other than just some simulation that we're living in, where there's rich and powerful people that are putting things in place and we're just the silly pawns, you know, just going through the world every day, caught up in the rat race. This is no different than that video that we watched. Remember we were watching the video about the slaves when they were freed from slavery? What did they do? They created now rent. They created now groceries. They created it to where now you have to afford to pay for these things. So how are you going to afford to pay for these things? Oh, okay, now you got to come work for us. You got to do the same slave shit that you were doing before, but now we're just going to flip it. Now we're just going to actually, hey, all these things that you were getting, it's almost like an artist in a deal. It's like, hey, all this stuff that you were getting while you were a slave, you were getting free room and board, you were getting free meals, you were getting this, you were getting that, you were getting protection from all these different things. Yeah, now we're just going to put a price on those things. And now you'll have to do the very same things that you were doing before, where you thought you were a slave, but we just flip it, right? And now put a price on all these things. So now you're just working to pay those same things that you were given before. What do we do in our day-to-day lives? We get caught up in this rat race, right? We spend our entire lives spending the majority of our day doing something that we don't feel like doing, all because we got to afford to put food on the table. It's just another form of, it. It's just another form of it. And it's not, and it goes beyond just being the physical aspects that we tend to focus on when we talk about slavery. But what it really taps into the mental aspect. They have figured out a way to control us. They have figured out a way to distract us from the things that they don't want us to pay attention to. They have found a way to control our morals, values, and principles based on what suits their agenda. They will sit here and tell us, hey, this country was founded on, well, now they say Judeo-Christian values, but let's say this country was founded on Christian values, religious values, godly principles. But everything that we see our leaders doing, everything that we condone, that we're complicit in as we the people, we vote for people that, just think about the people that we voted for in the past, whether you voted Democrat or Republican. They probably have violated more commandments than you. And yet they're in this position of power. Yet they're running the world. Perhaps they've just shown that they're willing to sacrifice their morals, values, and principles in ways that you have not in order to get to these positions. Because if I was in a position of power and I was running all these corrupt things, would I want to square a solid person to come and work for me? Or would I want somebody that I know will completely be compromised in order to push my agenda? Will completely be compromised if I just give them, give them a nice house, give them some money. Will completely compromise. Will completely be compromised and do whatever's necessary in that position of power that you give them in order to keep the agenda moving. This is what I think of when I hear people, they sold their soul to the devil. If it's not this, then what is it? And a lot of us, we've sold our soul to the devil simply by allowing the things to happen in this world that we allow. There's a lot of people that were going to vote for Nikki Haley. A lot of people voted for Donald Trump, me included. A lot of y'all voted for Barack Obama. A lot of y'all voted for Joe Biden. A lot of us voted for some people that we know that have committed some of the most evil things or condoned or been complicit in some of the most evil things happening around this world. But we vote for them. We think it's cool to sit back and look at it like, oh, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. Isn't that like that has to be, I don't know, somebody look in the commandment book. Somebody bring up the commandment encyclopedia that goes through all the commandments, or just look at the 10, right? That has to be some sort of violation. That has to be some sort of compromise. To even sit there and say that you're voting for the lesser of two evils and be proud of it. And we've all done it. Why? Because attitude reflects leadership. Because what is deemed okay, what's deemed appropriate by the people that run the world usually trickles down to the rest of us. And if it doesn't, if we don't just embrace it naturally, oh, we just got to give that person something. Oh, we're going to lower your taxes. We're going to give you more in Social Security. We're going to push for some LGBTQ rights. Those are all things. We're making a deal with the devil. They're getting us to compromise our principles by giving us certain things in return. But ultimately, we know deep down that these people are evil and demonic. They're okay with war. They are okay with war. They are okay with killing other people so we can have more for us, so we can have more land for my kids. I don't mind killing their kids. That is the mindset that we have inherited, the culture that we have been okay with. When we hear people like Nick Fuentes or other people, and whether they say it or we just vote for it, it's the same thing in a lot of ways. When you hear Nick Fuentes say it's not your gold if you can't protect it, Might is right. A lot of people thinking that we should take Greenland. Oh, well, we need it for our protection. We need it. Well, what about the Greenlanders? Do they need it, or that just doesn't matter because we need it and we're stronger than them, we're bigger than them? We think it's okay to just go do whatever with Venezuela. We just heard the other day, we watched the video about talking about what France has done to the African nations. Just think about it from that standpoint. France, we have a country, a European nation that has a deal to extort African countries, to where African countries have to give them their natural resources. And then those African countries They take care of the natural resources. They may mine some of the natural resources. Then they have to give it to France and then buy it back. In any world where other nations are okay with that happening, we're living in a demonic world. Matter of fact, I said we were on the brink of it. No, we're already there. In any world where that is okay and condoned behavior, and that's just a small thing, right? Compared to a lot of the other atrocities that we've seen okayed, that a lot of us have remained complicit in. We need, there needs to be some sort of cultural, spiritual, religious awakening, or we are going to commit the most selfish thing that we can commit, which is pushing this country to extinction. Except for, the people that God says, hey, you're special, so we're going to give you this ark. I'm the type of person, I start thinking about, well, shit, maybe Noah flooded this thing. You expect me to believe that God just told Noah that, yo, there's a flood coming, build something? I'm damn near taken back to the point where I'm like, well, damn, I could see the world, maybe it's with nuclear weapons happening right now. So maybe the wealthy, powerful people, they just get together and they say, you know what? We need to restart. What do we always hear? Isn't it kind of ironic that we hear Bill Gates always talking about depopulation? And now that we know with the Epstein files coming out, that we know that Bill Gates was a part of the Pandemic Planning Commission. We understand that Ghislaine Maxwell was asked to be on the 9/11 Shadow Commission. So we're realizing, damn, the world really is controlled by just these powerful few. And if I was Noah and the only surviving people that survived this flood that God supposedly created, and I never even thought that God could create a flood, I'll be honest, that would be the most ungodly thing, to create kids, to create children, and then when they're not behaving in the way that you want them to behave, to just kill them. Or let me not say, you got 100 kids, you just killed 98 of them. You kept 2 of them. The 2 of them, those were your special ones. That to me is one of the most ungodly things, but we just see it as something that we accept. So it got me thinking, I'm like, yo, all these rich people buying these bunkers, man, maybe Noah was just one of the rich, he was just down with the rich crew at the time that was losing control. Maybe the Epstein files came out for Noah. And he needed a way to take back control because things were getting so hectic and chaotic. Do we think that these wealthy people, that a lot of these people have gotten caught up in the Epstein files, or these may not even be the actual people that run things. These may just be the people that run plays for the actual wealthy people that we may not even ever know their names. We may not ever see them, because if you were really that powerful enough, why would you want somebody to see you? Why would you want, especially if you're committing all these evil atrocities? Then we didn't know exactly where to point the finger to. Yo, it's them. Just like when things go wrong in a country, who do we ultimately point to? It falls on the president. If things happen during Biden's term, we blame Biden. Things happen during, well, not always. Sometimes we blame both, but y'all get what I'm saying. We blame the presidents. So as I'm connecting these dots in real time with y'all, just having this conversation, I'm really just going down this conspiracy hole with y'all. If I was Noah and I rose and finally the bird that I sent out didn't come back, and I thought that there must be land soon. Okay, we're near land, or the earth is it's no longer flooded, right? We can leave the ark. And if I was writing a story, what would that story look like? Would I write, yo, I was wealthy and rich and shit was going left and I had to survive. I did what I needed to do to survive. You know how everybody, with the snitching videos, when you get in trouble and they start, I had to look out for me. But how are you going to actually write that out? Maybe this is how New World Order comes to existence. Y'all don't think about all these wealthy people building these bunkers. We see in the Epstein files that all of these powerful, wealthy people are talking to each other. Whether it's Epstein, whether it's, shout out to 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, whether it's Deepak Chopra. And I'm over here like, damn, all these people are connected in one way or another. If they decided, and wouldn't this be an easy thing to make it seem like? Because, hey, we got to go to Iran. We got to address Iran. We got to figure out, they got nuclear weapons. We can't have that. And then nuclear weapons start going off. And then only the people with bunkers, they survive. Only the people that knew that the towers were going to hit. Let me not go into that. Only the people that are prepared will survive. So where does that leave us? Where does that leave us? Sorry to go off on that tangent. That was not expected. I'm still waiting here for these things to load. So if y'all can give me a second, I think I just need to open up a new set of windows. Let me see if this works. Wow, there's nothing opening on my screen. Let me do this. Let me turn the Wi-Fi off. And then let me turn all right, let me see if it'll work now. Oh my God, what is wrong with this? All right, let me see if I can figure this out. 1 second. Google's working. It worked when I looked up QAnon. All right, let me, give me a second. I think I got it. Give me a second. And I was actually gonna go a different direction, but I don't want to take time wasting going through all the presidents. We may still actually do that. Actually, since y'all heard so much from me, maybe we actually will move in that direction. Hold on. Let's see if this is gonna work. It's working. All right, we're good. We're good. All right, so this is the video that I wanted to show, just the President's Day weekend or President's Day video, where a little bit of a history lesson. Do I want to show this now? Let me, y'all tell me in the chat. Do I want to show this video? It just kind of gives the history of our presidents, or I can kind of keep going in the direction that we've been going in. Let's actually, I'll play. All right, so I'll play one video and then y'all tell me if you want me to, or let me play the actual video that brought about this conversation, if I may. Even though this is what happens, man. You just gotta go with it. All right, so that video is not playing. All right, so we're gonna get into the president's video. All right, so we're gonna learn a little bit about our presidents, and then we'll come back and we got a bunch of other videos to cover as well. So we won't take too much time on this one, but we will go through it because I think it does serve as a nice refresher for a lot of us. I don't even think everybody knows all of our presidents. I know I can't name them all, and I don't know what all of them are significant for. What did they do? So let's take a look at this, go through this video.
A nation to the challenges of the modern world. Each US president has left a lasting mark on history. Over more than 2 centuries, their leadership, vision, and decisions have shaped America's story. This is the evolution of the presidents of the United States.
And hold up, because I see some of y'all asking the same things. Like, I see Samira, Noah fled the earth, then celebrated and got drunk and passed out as Noah landed, and all his sons got their own kingdoms with their families made up of who? If everyone died. I never did get that. Yeah, was this just the incest type of thing going on, or what? They never explained that part. But there's one thing that I do like. Think about any real wealthy person that you know of, or any person with abundance, or they typically got they got their whole team that has to move with them, right? They have their whole team that has to move with them. So it's very hard for me to believe that Noah didn't bring. He brought some other people along board. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
States, from beginning to now. George Washington. Washington is considered the first US president because he was unanimously elected after leading the nation to independence in the Revolutionary War. He defined the role from scratch, setting traditions like the two-term limit and the peaceful transfer of power. John Adams. A founding father and key voice for independence, Adams helped draft the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, shit.
He was also the first president to live in the White House. Thomas Jefferson. Author of the Declaration of Independence, Jefferson doubled the nation's size with the Louisiana Purchase. He also founded the University of Virginia after his presidency. James Madison. Known as the father of the Constitution, Madison helped shape America's founding documents. His presidency is remembered for leading the nation through the War of 1812. James Monroe. Monroe's presidency is marked by the Monroe Doctrine, declaring the Americas off-limits to European colonization. His era is often called the Era of Good Feelings for its national unity. John Quincy Adams. Son of John Adams, he was the first president whose father also held the office. After his presidency, he made history by serving in Congress for 17 years, fighting against slavery. Andrew Jackson. A war hero from the Battle of New Orleans, Jackson was known as the People's President. His legacy is controversial, remembered for expanding democracy, but also for the forced removal of Native Americans. Martin Van Buren. A skilled politician and founder of the Democratic Party, Van Buren's presidency was overshadowed by the Panic of 1837, one of the nation's worst economic crises. William Henry Harrison. Harrison served the shortest presidency in history, only 31 days, after catching...
I don't feel like watching this. I'm gonna be honest. I don't feel like watching this. The conversation was getting to. I don't feel like watching that. I don't feel like watching that. I want to get into more of the conversation that we were already having. So I figured out a way to have some of these videos on the screen. It's going to be a little bit out of order and take me a little bit longer to actually find them, but we will. I have them all here. So I just have to scroll through them to figure out which one is which, but that's fine. That's fine. So just give me a second. Let's start off with, and since we were talking about the QAnon stuff, listen to what Marjorie Taylor Greene said regarding this. Take a look at this.
Files came directly from that fight to release the Epstein files came directly from President Trump. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with that, but that is the truth. He fought the hardest to stop these files from being released.
This is what I meant when I said, like, with the QAnon, like, if he's the person that, so maybe it's just a bigger play. Maybe it's just a bigger play. So maybe that's what we're seeing, just a bigger play when it comes to that. With Trump, I guess, being the person that's now responsible for being the savior when it comes to the QAnon. But we'll talk about that more tomorrow with Ankh. I'm trying to find these videos. All right, so we're going to be a little bit all over the place. My apologies for that, but this is just what it has to be until I can find a lot of this stuff. Okay, here it is, right here. This is the video that I was looking for.
On a scale.
Listen to this. It's very quick video. But when we talk about attitude reflecting leadership, the culture that we live in, how we're okay with being so ungodly, even though we act as if we're a Christian nation or a Judeo-Christian nation. Take a look at this.
Europeans come to this continent, literally ethnically cleanse the indigenous population out of existence, kill them on a scale that has hardly been equaled by the millions, and refer to them as savages. That's an achievement. Who's the savage? If you go, the first time I encountered this was in a little town in Massachusetts called Deerfield, or Old Deerfield. It's a reconstruction of what that little town looked like in colonial America. And so the houses are redone to look like they did then. Very nice job. It's a tourist thing. You go there and you look at that. And in front of each house is a plaque that explains something about this house. It was inhabited by the Yipsy Doodle family or whatever it was. And then description. On the 18th of October of 1702, the savages attacked. I remember the first time I saw this, the savages. You come in here, destroy everything these people have, and they are the savages. That's an interesting move.
When we say that attitude reflects leadership, is it safe to say that the European nations are like this? Like if we look back during the times and say, hey, during 2026 or the last 300 years, will we say that Europe has been the dominating, European countries have dominated? I mean, I guess you could say China as well. But when we talk about the culture of our world, who do we think has led the charge on that? I think it's been European colonization. I think it's been European colonization. And I don't know. These thoughts are just coming to mind. Is America the most powerful thing that has come from European colonization? So is it safe to say that America has led the charge when it comes to might is right, when it comes to manifest destiny, when it comes to doctrine of discovery, when it comes to there being some sort of chosen people? Because you got to really think that and this is kind of what brought the conversation with the whole chosen people thing in the first place. It's like all these groups that we've seen, and I don't want to go down that route because that's the whole slavery route. Well, the route that I was going to go down, it is what it is. Perhaps a lot of other people outside of just Jewish people believe that they're the chosen people. Perhaps the Arabs, when they conducted the slave trade, perhaps they thought that they were the chosen people. Perhaps Americans or Europeans, when they were conducting slavery in America, they thought that they were the chosen people. And what did they start saying in order to justify it? They were calling Black people beasts, right? And all this other stuff. And of course, slavery has happened all over the world. So it's not just Europeans, it's not just Arabs, it's not just any particular group. However, there's different forms of slavery. You know, when you're enslaving people that, your neighbors that you may have some beef with or something like that, I think that Arabs and Europeans just did it on a level where it was institutionalized in a way that had never been done before. Touche. They were able to do slavery better than everybody else because everybody did. But ultimately, the point that I'm trying to get at is a lot of us feel that we're inherently chosen or better than others. When we think about our religious groups, would be very hard for me to believe that a Christian who pledges his life to Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior doesn't have some type of thoughts where they believe that they're better than somebody that doesn't pledge their life to Jesus. And perhaps that is reflected in the reason why you can't come to the club after you transition out of this physical world or whatever it is, this video game that we're living in right now. Is there no, what is the difference? You're saying that this group of people, because they pledge their allegiance to this religion, that they get to come where nobody else can. All of our entire culture, how we view the world, this world that we're living in, we see it through the actual savages. We see it through the lens of actual savages, whether we realize it or not. This world that we're living in, we've adopted a savage lens, savage sunglasses, whatever it is that you want to call it. We justify certain things that are beneficial for us. We're cool with what's going on between Israel and Palestine. We're cool even with Russia and Ukraine. We're cool with all these things happening. We don't lose sleep over them one bit. And the only reason we cannot lose sleep over somebody committing a genocide, the only reason we can be so proud of America, the way that a lot of us are proud of, we want to be proud of America. I want to be proud of the country that I'm living in, that I'm from, right? But don't we have to judge how we got here? Don't we do that with people? So why wouldn't we do that with a nation? If we do that with people, why wouldn't we do that with a nation? We're going to judge. What are we talking about? QAnon, right? We're judging all these people based on, well, Donald Trump achieved success. He became president. Oh, no, but you're judging him on a lot of the actions that it took for him to become that successful. You're saying that, oh, he was keeping black people out of these homes. Okay. So we hold man to a higher standard than we do a nation. This is probably the least optimistic that I've been in a very long time, or perhaps this is the most optimistic that I've been, because maybe I'm just realizing, and in order to solve any problem, you got to be real with yourself about what you're actually facing. These are the times of Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't even want to say Sodom and Gomorrah. We're just living in demonic times. These are the times of the devil. The devil is running the world. Devilish energy is winning. It's working harder. It's sharpening its skills, its tools, all these things. The devil is winning. That side, they're outworking the good. Matter of fact, the devil is working so much that even the people that we see as good, whether it's these pastors, whether it's these politicians, whether it's ourselves, whether it's people, when we look at what we're actually doing, it's just different degrees of demonic behavior. It's a spectrum. That's what brings us back to the whole lesser of two evils, right? It's some corrupt times coming. And I saw Critical send something, and hold on, let me change it up. Wait. Oh, there's two Criticals on. Wait, is Randy and Critical? Hold on. I'm getting confused. But I saw something and I pulled it up, and I think Randy sent over something saying that all the presidents predicted it. Let's take a look at this video. My videos, I don't think my videos are working for me to click on it. So let me let's take a look at this video that you sent over, and then we'll kind of go through it. And hold on. Hopefully I can play this one video before we get into that video. Hold on. Let me get out of this real quick. It's an indoctrination. That's all it is. It's indoctrination. And I want to show y'all this video on this indoctrination camp that I saw. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Spiritual.
So all their people, the Jews, are better than all of us. They're better than all of us. And you need to accept that.
So all your loose change that you have from home, you bring that change to school. Everything that we get, we will actually cash it in and make a check out to the Fellowship for Christians and Jews.
This is where, with the kids, where we start our indoctrination. That's where it started with me. When I was a child, that I was taught about the support that the church owes to Israel.
Every nation that has blessed Israel, God has blessed them. And every nation that has opposed Israel, God has been in opposition to them.
Now, when he says God, who exactly is he talking about? Because when you start to kind of look at it the other way, maybe I'm just looking at it from a different perspective. So if I'm good to a certain group of people, but just that group of people, right? And this is what I was thinking the other day. I'm like, well, of course, if God is speaking to me, then God would say, hey, those who do good by David, you know, they'll get blessings as well. Because then maybe that's reciprocal energy. I don't know. Maybe not. But God said, be good to Israel. Like, that's something that you would write. Like when you got off the ark or you come out of your bunkers, it's like, what's the number one thing? God said, be good to Bill Gates. Like what? But Bill Gates would be the actual one in that scenario, allegedly, I'm just using his name, who's making the deal with the devil. How did you know a flood was coming? Noah? How were you aware of this? Oh, God told you? Well, that's pretty convenient. So out of all these people in this world, like, is that a God? Is a God somebody that would save one family but destroy the rest? Is that God or is that the devil? And this is what I mean. Like, we just get so indoctrinated and accustomed to looking at things a particular way. We don't even question it. This makes no sense. It makes all the sense looking at it the way I'm looking at it now, but it makes no sense the way that we typically accept this. God said, be good to Israel, or be good to, it didn't say Israel. But let's just take that mindset. If God said, be good to any particular group of people and excluded other groups, and you could treat those other groups of people, because I'm assuming that God didn't say be good to the Palestinians. I'm assuming that this pastor doesn't believe that God said be good to the Palestinians, and those that are good to the Palestinians will forever, have God's blessings. These people that are telling us what God said and what God did, it seems like they're always telling it to us in a way where it's beneficial for them if we believe what they're telling us that God said. That's very convenient. And God never came across to me as a convenient God.
And I'm going to stand up for Israel.
There's just a lot of questions, man. There's just a lot of questions. Let me see what Zachary, shout out to Zachary in the building. Funny story. Before I heard that, I was passing out candy and a kid asked how many trick-or-treaters I've had. And I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7, been slow so far. They all laughed and kept saying, all right, my bad. I see a bunch of 6, 7s there. Yeah. I don't believe in any of this, man. I do not believe in any of this. I do not believe in any of this. Let me show you. Let's keep it moving though. I want to show y'all this. Oh, that's that same pastor actually. Hold on. There's another video that I want to show y'all. There's another. Shout out to Kyrie, man. Legendary interview right here. Legendary interview right here. If y'all remember that, that's before they started giving him his lashings. Hold on. Sorry, I got to do it this way. I want to show y'all this interview that didn't end up being an interview. Hold on. Here it is right here.
You having nuclear weapons. Why should the world tolerate you having nuclear weapons and not, say, Iran?
First, again, we never admitted to have such weapons. But the very comparison is...
Did y'all just hear what he just said? First of all, we've never admitted to having such weapons.
Why should the world tolerate you having nuclear weapons and not, say, Iran?
First, again, we never admitted to have such weapons. But the very...
We never admitted to having such weapons. And then you start thinking about like the whole JFK thing. Perhaps JFK was the last of our, I would say American, but global saviors. Because in a lot of ways, where America goes, it seems like the world goes. Maybe that's just me living in this little bubble in America. But I do think that America has a big influence over the world. America has never even demanded that Israel acknowledge that they have nuclear weapons, to my understanding, not in a formal way. And yet we have conversations about what Iran has, and we don't know what they have. We decide to bomb what they have. So why would it be okay for Israel to have nuclear weapons, but not Iran? Another question. Can somebody explain to me how, let's just look at Israel overall as it's been constructed. Can you explain to me how Israel, you know, that question that always comes up, Israel has the right to exist. Can you explain to me how Israel deserves to have the land that they have without telling me that God promised it to them? Is there a way that you'd be able to describe that? Remember what we were talking about. All these people that try to convince us that God said this or God. It's funny how they're always trying to convince us of God said something or did something that's in their best interest, man's best interest, that doesn't align with what it seems like God would actually do. Just another example. Let's keep going.
The comparison is, I must say, it's very insulting. We never admitted to have such weapons. But the very comparison is, I must say, it's very insulting, and I tell you why.
The very comparison. Why should Israel be able to have nuclear weapons? Well, we never admitted to having them, but just to entertain it, comparing us to Iran, very insulting. What has Iran done? Like, and this is the thing, we always hear, and I saw a whole bunch of the riots that Iranians are rioting and stuff like that. Yeah, Americans riot all the time about stuff that we don't fully grasp or understand the concept of, like, or that I'm sure if, like, it's almost as if you were living outside of America and you were getting fed, let's say maybe by your country that may not like America, or that's looking for a reason to get its population to hate America for whatever reason. What are the things that they would tell us? What are the things that they would show that population of people? Look, they killed Charlie Kirk just for what? Speaking his mind. They killed political activists. Look at what's Epstein. They have a cabal running. They have pedophiles and people that eat kids running the country. And they're all working together in cahoots to try to hide it. They shoot their presidents. They shot another president who seemed to be, he was the last president that pressed Israel, that told them that they couldn't have nuclear weapons, and then he got shot. Imagine the propaganda that other countries are fed, their population of people that do not rock with America. So when we think we know everything about what's going on in Iran, because the Iranians are protesting, right? We think we know everything that's going on in Iran, and we justify us now getting ready to start bombing Iranians because of propaganda that has been fed to us, all to get us to think the exact way that we think now when an atrocity happens over there. We think about it for a couple seconds, and then we don't think about it anymore. We may get some college kids who have a lot of estrogen or a lot of testosterone, I should say, who just want to do something. They'll jump out there, they'll put their signs up, they'll make a little bit of a stink and stuff like that, but we'll shut that down real quick. Other than that, everybody else will just play their part.
We suffered one Holocaust. We listened to our neighbors.
Is it because of the Holocaust that you should be allowed to have nuclear weapons?
You know what? This interview was finished now. Your attitude is so hostile, and your questions are so arrogant. I don't want.
His attitude is hostile. This man gets asked a question, and he says that it's, first off, we've never even admitted to having nuclear weapons. Then he says it's rude for you to even to lump us in the same category as far as why it's okay for us to have one that we never admitted, but not okay for Iran. Then he brings up the Holocaust as if that justifies y'all having nuclear weapons. And then when he's asked, okay, does the Holocaust justify you having the nuclear weapons? He runs and says that it's a hostile interviewer. This is what an entitled culture looks like. Not an entitled person. This is what an entitled culture. You can't just get away with this as one person. This is what an entitled culture looks like. This is what an entitled culture that believes that they are God's people and that believes that they're chosen and that they don't have to follow the same rules that everybody else does. This is what that looks like. This is what that video earlier that I was going to show y'all when we talk about the video was, it started off talking about how these Muslims that commit these atrocities, that may commit these radical acts, or that, you know, the ones that have committed radical acts, they're fake Muslims. He said they're not real Muslims. He said the real Muslims are peaceful people. They wouldn't resort to these type of measures. This is what the guy was saying. Just what the guy was saying. In my opinion, I don't know if this is a fake religion. This guy, what he's standing for. I don't know if it's a fake religion. I can't tell you that. The reason why I can't tell you that is because there's things in that religious book that justify what Israel's doing. Then that makes me go back to Noah, right? It makes me go back to the ark. It makes me go back to those times. Well, if I was here, wouldn't I give myself a free pass? What if I was writing? If I was right, the first thing we started off, we said, God said, be good to us, right? God said, be good to OG. That's what we would do. We'd write that down. Then we would say, in order, like, hey, we may have to do some dirty stuff here for the greater good of us. You know what I'm saying? But we need to make it seem like it's for the greater good of everybody. So what would be our number 2 rule? We would say, oh, we need to create a culture that allows us to get away with violating some of these commandments that we set for everybody else, but it allows us to get away with it. So we need special provisions in this scripture that justify, you know, us being able to commit certain things that we can always point to and say, hey, this is different because this is a part of God's plan. God said to kill and destroy the Amalekites. He said, don't kill the kids, kill the pets, kill the cattle. He said, kill everybody. That's what God said. It's in the Bible. It's in the book. Okay, so we need to make sure that that's in there. We can't ever allow people to think that they can come and kill us. Matter of fact, we'll make that an even greater sin than killing somebody else. Let's write that down. I don't what did Glenn and I say say in 2026? We're not, ignorance is no longer an excuse. This stuff is right in front of our face. We don't need to do a deep dive on all these other conspiracy theories. There's one right in front of our face that's controlling the way that we see the world. Are we going to adjust? Are we going to do something different? Are our parents even intelligent enough with this stuff to even teach us? Are we interested enough in it? Or would we rather be distracted by, let's say, like a Meg Thee Stallion? So we'll bring Meg Thee Stallion to our political event, or Amber Rose, or Nicki Minaj. We'll pay all these goofy entertainers to distract us from what's really happening. They'll never, ever be as successful as us. They'll never, ever have the wealth that we have. Matter of fact, we'll run the fucking leagues that they're in so we can be the ones controlling their pay. And when we're controlling their pay, this is what happens. Hold up. This is what happens. Hold on, let me find this. I'm going to find it. Don't worry. I got to scroll through, but it's all good. It's all good. This is what happens. Hold on.
What message would you like to send 14 in Israel for all the Israeli fans? What message would you like to send for Israel? And also, what do you think about Danny Avdia?
Well, I've been quoted on Danny already. And they asked me what I thought about this season. I said I believe he was an all-star. And I mean, he is an all-star. He's playing, exceptional, basketball. So that's that. And then, I mean, if I have fans over there, I've never been there. If I have fans over there, then, I hope you have been following my career. I hope I inspire people over there to not only want to be great in sports, but I want you to be better in general in life. So hopefully someday I can make it over there. Like I said, I've never been over there, but I've heard nothing but great things. And I appreciate the question.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Hold up, bro. Yo, he made sure he let everybody know, I've never been over there. I just want to be clear, I've never been over there. But he said something, hold on. Did he say something like I've heard nothing but great things?
To not only want to be great in sports, but I want you to be better in general in life. So hopefully someday I can make it over there. Like I said, I've never been over there, but I've heard nothing but great things. And
you've heard nothing but great things regarding Israel. This is why I can't stand this goofy nigga. This is why I can't stand this goofy nigga. I've heard nothing but great things. These people are committing a fucking genocide right now. And had their land stolen to them within the last 100 years. You can say what you want, whether it's justified or not. It was stolen. It was taken from them. And he's sitting here on TV saying, I've heard nothing but great things. But then wants to cry and complain about how hard it is to be a black man in America when Donald Trump wins the presidency and he wants to pander and put his daughter up in a post, or whoever he did. I think he put his daughter up in a post talking about, I'll make sure I protect you in this country because we, hundreds of years ago, we had slavery and all this other stuff. Then we had Jim Crow. And then but when it comes to Israel, you've heard nothing but great things. This is the world we're living in. This is the world that we're living in. We have to be very clear. This is the world that we live in. Let me move it in a little bit of a different direction. Because I did want to have some certain positive things to discuss. So let me do this very quickly. It's just hard. It's just hard not to see this happening right in front of our face. It's hard not to see this. America, we always say we're the most powerful country in the world, right? The most powerful. Well, what's the one group that controls us? It's the most powerful country in the world. No, it's not. We have the most powerful people in the world. America's just the biggest consumer, but we have the most powerful people. We have the most powerful people, but we act as if it's the most powerful country. If it is the most powerful country, let's say it is the most powerful country, doesn't that make it even more dangerous that we are a capitalist society? Think about it like that. America's the most powerful country in the world. But within America, we know that the government isn't the most powerful entity in America. It's the wealthy. It's the people that we're no longer calling elites. The ones that have all the money, the leverage, the Epsteins. Those are the most, so they're running the world. So if they're running the world now with, let's see how many people, let me ask Google a question. How many people are in the world? Let's see. As of early 2026, the global population is estimated to be approximately 8.3 billion people. So with 8.3 billion people, there probably is a room of less than 100 people that are making these decisions that impact the entire world of 8.3 billion. So when I hear all these different videos of, sometimes the Jewish people that will show their success or other people doing their research on the successful people. And then I told y'all that that something that always stood out to me with the guy that started TEDx, when I asked him about something about life, give me like just something. He was just giving me some gems to life, or I asked him a question and he said, I'd always rather be the minority. But minorities, as far as what we see them, are not really minorities. We see minorities, black people, brown people. It's just we see weak as meaning minority. We see less than as meaning minority. It could also be with numbers, of course, like numbers in the, but even I look at it less than numbers and more about dominance. So when we have 8.3 billion people on this planet, and I don't know about y'all, maybe y'all think the room is bigger. I'm convinced that there's rooms with less than 100 people that are making all these decisions. And it has nothing to do with how you serve the government. It may have to do with how you played your role in the government, serving somebody else, an individual. But it has nothing to do with these things that we may look at as, hey, this qualifies this person to be in this room. It is just about money, power, leverage. So when we think back to the times of Noah, let's ask, during the times of Noah, before the flood, how many people were on the planet? How many people were on Earth? So the estimate, such as creation researchers suggest there could have been anywhere from 4 billion to 7 billion people. Let's see, so it says 4 billion. That seems a little high to me. Hold on, the moderate growth. So it says many historians and theologians, I've heard some people say theologians, I don't know which one's the right one, point out that biblical longevity doesn't necessarily mean high fertility. Environmental factors, violence, which Genesis mentions was filling the earth, and lower birth rates could have slowed growth. The logic, even with long lives, if the generation gap was wider or if infant mortality was a factor, the numbers would be much lower. This model suggests a population between 10 million and 100 million people. The archaeological and secular perspective, estimates for the global human population around 3,000 to 2,500 BCE, the traditional window for the flood, are typically between 5 million and 20 million. So on the high note, there's people saying 4 to 9 billion. That seems on the high note, but the conservative and then based on historical and secular is somewhere in the millions. So let's say even if it was on the higher end of the conservative, 100 million people. I just said that we're living in a world where there's 8.3 billion people right now. And my thoughts are my thoughts. You guys can think whatever you think, but I think that there's rooms with less than 100 people that are controlling the planet. So do we not think with significantly less amount of people on the planet, in the millions, that we couldn't have families controlling the world? We've seen that. We've seen the Rockefellers. We've seen this at this great level. So why would we not think that it would happen on a smaller scale? Why would we not think that? Do we really think that God was the one that said, yo, we're about to flood this thing? Or, and hold on, before I lose you, or is it even, would you even consider that maybe man just maybe misinterpreted, maybe misquoted, or maybe just, fudged the history a little bit? Maybe Noah was just those times elite. God told you. Could you imagine? Like, haven't we heard like Trump saying something like that? God told me. Like, yeah, God told me to build a bunker. God told Nancy Pelosi which stocks to trade. Like, what? Like, and I'm not making fun. Obviously, I don't even need to say that. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to say that, because if you think that, I don't care. I don't care. We have to grow up. We have to grow up how we're seeing the world, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. We have to grow up. Continuing to believe in Santa Claus and all these fairy tales and, oh, it's in a book, so therefore it's got to be true. Oh my God, thank God Noah miraculously survived this flood, and God told Noah, and just Noah. What type of God would, bro? I wouldn't even rock with a God that did that. If God came here right now, if God came to you as an individual and said, yo, I'm about to flood this whole thing, but I'm going to give you life. Well, what have we learned as far as when people give us stuff? Now, I know God is different, but just go with me on this one. Maybe God isn't different, because aren't you supposed to live a righteous life and then you get rewarded with heaven? So you have to give in order to get, right? So what did Noah have to give? If God came to you right now and said, yo, I'm going to give you this, what would you have to give? These are just the thoughts that I wasn't planning on speaking on any of this. Just to be, I'm being real with y'all. I wasn't planning on speaking on any of this. But the videos don't work. And y'all know me. We could always start a conversation regarding this. I think it's a relevant topic. But if God came to you right now and said, like, yo, we got a deal, would you take the deal? Would you take that deal? Or would you say, nah, I'm good, and then God goes to the next person? Eventually somebody's going to take that deal, right? But what do I do, man, when I'm the only person here? All right, bro, look, bring a couple of these peasants, make sure that they're people that you have significant power over, because, you don't want them, during this power transition of us, you got to make sure that you have power over them, so they don't just take over and do what they want. I'm giving this responsibility to you. So you allow the earth to be flooded, and now you got to create a plan or create a story to justify. You the kid in the principal's office that just got caught, or you start saying a story that in your mind makes a whole lot of sense. But to everybody else, it's like, bro, what did he just say? This is the dog ate my homework type of level. This has made me look at what we're experiencing right now. When they say that history always repeats itself, what we're experiencing right now has me looking at everything that I've learned completely different, especially regarding religion, especially regarding God. God is the all-knowing, all powerful, all being, right? Let me ask y'all this. What makes Hamas or Hitler or Stalin or any of these other people who have killed millions of people, what makes them worse than God? Well, according to these numbers, we said that we were going off 100 million people, right? So I'm assuming Noah and just his family, let's say there were maybe 100 of them, maybe, like, that's, a high number. I think the Bible says a lot less, but so that means that God decided to kill almost 100 million people because they weren't behaving correctly? That sounds real Hitlerish to me, as far as what I've been taught. But that's what we accept. Like, that's the story that we heard and we never questioned. Like, yo, why would God do that? Especially somebody that was all knowing and all powerful. If I was all powerful, I would just straighten people up. That would be the power that I use. What do most powerful people do? They have the ability to influence and change, right? So if you have the all-powerful being, and if people are behaving in a way that you deem inappropriate, then why not just change it? You gonna kill 100 million people and save a family, and I'm supposed to look at you as like somebody that I want to aspire to be like? Well, on that note, and I've gotten a text to please read the comments. I'm going to ask the person that just texted me. I would love for you to join the show on a consistent basis and help me with reading the comments. Because for a lot of people that may not know, it's kind of hard to be doing the dialogue as well as reading the comments. But if you let me know a comment in particular that you want me to read, I will definitely read it. I can tell you one way to stand out in which we always read the comments. Well, let me not go. It's very hard for me to read all the comments when I'm getting. Do y'all ask y'all pastor to read the comments when he up there giving his sermon? Shit. All right, let me see. No, all joking aside, please highlight which, or I don't know if there's a way to highlight the comment, but resend or tell me which comment that you want me to look at. And let me actually highlight this comment. The past is not done. Mama Lay, the past is not done. We keep trying to move forward without addressing the problems. Sports analogy. Shout out Phyllis. I got to use the sports analogy. If you don't address a problem on in your team during the first game of the season, that problem may not impact you until the playoffs, but it's going to prevent you from getting to the goal that you overall want. We have to address the now is the past. What we're currently experiencing is us not caring about the past or us not addressing those things. And then we've created these things here. So we have to figure out the past. How did we get here? Or else it's just going to repeat. We think we're on this journey like this, right? And that it's just a line that extends all the way out there. No, we're on a journey like this. We're going in a cycle. We're going in circles. We don't even understand the past enough to move into the future. We don't understand the past. How can we move beyond the past when we're still believing in the same shit we believed in the past? How is the past done? We just created a nation of Israel 70 something years ago based on something that occurred 3,000 years ago. They're still in the past. They're justifying their current actions based on things that have happened thousands of years ago. We don't even understand the past enough. We don't even understand how we got here to figure out how to get somewhere else. Of course, it would be a lot easier to just focus on, okay, let's just move forward. Let's just move forward. How? Does a baby just learn to run? How about this? Mama Lay, you know I respect you on a spiritual level. You tell me, what should we do right now? What should we do right now on a massive level? What should we do? What should we do? We all want to move. We all are in such a rush to move beyond the past. The past is where all the answers are. How do we know these games that are being played on us over and over without understanding, like, oh, I saw this play before. Now I know how to react to it. They got me on the last play. They scored a touchdown. Now I'm going to try to get an interception because I can anticipate what's getting ready to happen. It's very easy for me to sit in the film room when I messed up and just say, yo, coach, just fast forward this play, bro. Like move on. Son, you didn't learn it. I tried to move on before, but you made the same mistake again. Then you made the same mistake again. So clearly you haven't learned. So how can I just move on? Mama Lay, saying that we need to focus on making a difference, that's one of those things that ideologically it sounds good, but it's not directions. Making a difference, what does that even mean? How do you even know what's different that you're doing now compared to what was done before if you don't even understand the past of what happened? We think we're doing things differently. That's the whole problem. We think that this world that we're living in, because now we got technology, we got phones, it's the same play being ran on us over and over and over. The same play is being run on us. But because we don't understand the play when it initially happened, or every time we don't have a true understanding of it, they just run it again. We believe in it again. They just change up something a little bit and then we fall for it again. The past is our greatest. We need to uncover the past. Isn't that what's going on with the Epstein files, or should we just move on? Should we just move on like Trump said? Move on, it's a hoax. So how many other things have they told us is a hoax that we should just move on, that we're cool just moving on from? Unify on what, Mama Lay? What are we unifying on? This is when it actually comes down to it. What are we unifying on? We don't even know how do we know what not to comply with if we don't understand what didn't work for us in the past? How do we know? Big Bro Finn said we can all start by making a difference in our own lives. I started doing that better since becoming a part of the OG family. Love and respect that, Big Bro. We've had conversations in this group where I've asked y'all, I asked everybody, and I've done it in my regular life, would you give up your religion in order to achieve the greater peace in the world? And people who were aligned with their religion could not say yes, because you are more You feel that you need to be more obedient to your religion than you do to God and what God should be, what we all know that God should be. Not the story that we tell ourselves to make us feel better about something that we'll never know how we got here, how things were created. Until there's nothing, see, we can't even have a real conversation. When I ask people, when I'm in a religious gathering amongst friends, like I've told y'all before, and I ask them, would you be willing to give up your religion in order to achieve the greater peace, the ultimate goal for humanity? They all said no. We're not ready for change. We want to do the same thing and just get a different result. We're not built for it. We don't understand enough about how this works. We think that we can do the same thing and get a different result because we don't understand that we've already been doing the same thing. Yeah, we want to unite. We want to do, what are we uniting on? Being decent people. Okay, well, what does that mean to people that have a corrupted mind? What does being decent mean in a world where we're living in demonic times? What it means is voting for the lesser of two evils. Past generations don't even know what has happened in the past. Here we want to move on from the past. Think about it from this standpoint. Who are people in America who know the least about their past? Niggas. Who's doing the worst in America? Niggas. But we want to move on from our past without even understanding it. Who does that benefit? That benefits the powers that be. That benefits the people that are manipulating us, that want us to be in the same position, that don't want us to grow. Who knows the most about their past? Jewish people. Who are the most successful people in this world? Jewish people. And let me clarify, as I always do, religion has hijacked our relationship with God. Religion has nothing to do with God. Just because somebody says it does, doesn't mean that it actually does. No religion no God that I want to be a part of. I don't respect gods that kill 100 million people. But maybe a lot of y'all give God a lower standard than you do human beings, because I don't think a lot of y'all would respect a human being that decided to kill 100 million people because he thought that was the only way to solve a problem. Are we even aware of how this is like? Let me be very clear. I'll give up anything to achieve the greater peace, as long as I don't have to kill anybody. As long as I don't have to violate anybody, anything that aligns with my golden rule that I live by, as far as treating others the way that we want to be treated. Me personally, I will give up anything to achieve the greater peace for humanity. Can you say the same? People won't even give up you won't even give up a God's ultimate goal is to achieve the greater peace. So if there's something getting in the way, that's like one of those tests that you pass. Like the last test on a question where you have your mentor and your mentor's telling you, yeah, well, the last test was, I taught you to always go on your principle. So if your principle led you away from me in order to solve this problem, then that's what you should have done. And now you're ready for the world. How many times have we seen movies like that? This is the same thing, in my opinion. We can all acknowledge that God would probably want, God's ultimate goal would be for his kids, just like any other parent, to be living peacefully. For you to say that you're not willing to give up anything, nothing is off the table for me when it comes to what I'm willing to give up in order to achieve this greater peace, because I think that that's the most godly thing that I can contribute to. Not everybody can say that. Not everybody can say that. We're not the same. And even though we may be in the same group or align with ourselves, that's what a lot of times happens. You're Democrat? All right, we're the same. No, we're not the fucking same. Oh, you voted for Trump? We didn't vote for the same reason. We're not the same. Shout out to my brother Queez in the building. He said, will that peace last, though? It only lasts as long as we're willing to fight for it. No different than anything else in life. When you make it to a certain goal, when you get your dream job, does the work just stop there? Oh, I'm here now. Now you got to work even harder to keep it. Now you got to work even harder to constantly, you got to have a mindset of improving it. Because if you're not trying to constantly improve it, then you're going to slide back a bit. You're going to fall off, right? How many times do we see that with athletes or anything else in life? You get to that position, oh, we're there. Clap for us. We have to have the mindset, we haven't arrived. We're never going to arrive. This is a constant battle. It's 10:06. I enjoyed this convo with y'all. I hope y'all got something from it as well. Let me see if I can find this video. We're getting ready to do our breath work. I'm good. I think this is a good conversation. I feel good about where this conversation has landed. So we shall wrap it up. You know, the only people's words who my parents, when they tell me something, or my brother, I don't question it. I don't hope that it's true. I don't think that it's true. I just accept it. In a lot of ways, it's because they've earned that with me. Has religion earned the right for us to just accept what religion teaches us rather than to question it? Has religion demonstrated that they have the ability to solve problems in a way that's beneficial for humanity to the point where we should just accept whatever religion brings our way? I don't know. I guess that's to each their own. Let's get into this breath work. If you're on your way out, if you're not going to do the breath work, do us a favor. Like. We're going to get into this breath work. So we're going to do, shout out to our big bro, Steve. This is a 4-7-8 breathing technique. It's going to help with your anxiety, help get a refresh on what we initially said that we were going into the week, to make this our greatest week ever and to just cleanse ourselves of some of the things that may be holding us back. So when I press play, it already has the initial sound, but we're going to already go into our inhale, which we're intentionally focusing on all of the positive things that we need to make sure that we are brewing in our lives. And then on the exhale, we're going to focus on removing any negative limiting energy. So let's start right now with our inhale, and we're going to go through 4 cycles. All right, ready? Begin. We'll do 2 more. Get the exhale, get the negative out. Be intentional with this inhale, inhaling positive energy. Hold the positive, hold the positive, and then on this last exhale, we're going to get rid of that last remaining bit of negative energy we have. Y'all know we come here to do elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint, raising our standards, becoming better leaders, becoming better followers, playing our role to the best of our ability, because that is what is required. For no other reason, that is required. Just like my old coach used to tell us, good is good until better is required. Better has been the requirement, but we just haven't been living up to those expectations. Let's do better. Whatever that means for you, do better. Strength and honor, onward and upward. Let's figure out how we can be as efficient as possible on this path that we're living in our purpose, striving for purposeful abundance. Let's make sure we're on the right trajectory, because we don't have time to waste. We don't have time to waste. Figure out what's in your bag. Those are all the quote unquote little things that ultimately add up to the big things and what's going to be our overall impact on this world that we like to call our personal legend. Figure out the impact that you want to make on this world, then back into it. Figure out what's going to help serve as your guardrails, your dots to connect, your North Star. The things that I like to focus on: peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and in everything we do. Integrity, got to have that balance, and a whole lot of perspective, whole lot of perspective. Big Bro Finn wrote, motivation comes and goes, but discipline, purpose, and belief will carry you through. Man, okay, critical. I appreciate you. Yeah, try to be here tomorrow, man. I'm gonna do a lot. I'm gonna be learning too, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll make sure that we're good to go. Camera wise, we should already be set up. So, yeah. Shout out to Big Bro Steve. Rightful liberty is unobstructed action according to our will within the limits drawn around us by the equal rights of others. Rightful liberty is unobstructed action according to our will within the limits drawn around us by the equal rights of others. Thomas Jefferson. My alumni, my alumni brethren. Yeah. Love y'all, appreciate y'all. And a question that Joe said, would you give your soul for peace on earth for a measly 7 to 80 years of life? Brother, you can't be religious. You can't be religious, and even more so, you can't be spiritual. I don't know about you, but I plan on my presence being felt for a lot more than 70 or 80 years while I'm on this physical, whatever this is. If your presence is only felt while you're here, then that means that you probably didn't do a lot while you were here. So I think we just look at that a lot differently. But to straight up answer your question, I will give anything for achieving the greater peace. So as long as it aligns with my principles, morals, and values, and overall golden rule, treating others the way that I want to be treated. Because how do a lot of us, this is the Israel mindset. Oh, I'm doing this for peace. Peace for who? Because they're missing the principles, in my opinion. But y'all get what I'm saying. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 8 a.m.